Hookup on KFOR.
Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving.
Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Monday. Welcome into the morning hookup. Yo, looks, Elijah Herbal, Dr. Dane Todd in the house. Hope your Monday and the beginning of your week's off to a great start. We got a lot to get to. Fall camp practice number 5 coming up. Why do we mention that? Because you get to put the pads on. You get to bang around a little bit now. We'll talk to the doc about that.
Stand by for bruises.
Yep, stand by. We'll talk about that. Man, my headphones are kind of like, where's going on? There we go. Now I can hear. It's like I was having some ear problems.
Do I get to start? Is it the time of year where I get to start ranting about laying on the field with cramps?
Yeah, well, it's written down. Cramping.
Okay, good.
Because you should have already been ahead of this.
Yeah, should have been ahead of this for sure.
We'll go around the diamond in Major League Baseball. A lot of baseball happenings right now. Also, we'll talk golf today. I don't know how excited you were, but I was excited watching the golf tournament over the weekend as I was still on my travels from one side of the country almost to the other, from Tahoe to Des Moines, Iowa. Got back at 9:30 last night. Finally slept in my bed after 8 days. It was glorious.
Some people say that the two most beautiful places in the country right there, Lake Tahoe and Des Moines. And you guys see them in one trip.
Yeah. It was wild. It was wild. Evan Bland, on my word held, also in hour number 2. It was just like a whirlwind. It was a whirlwind.
Yeah, you travel like that, it wears you out.
Well, great times. Tahoe was awesome. Beautiful. I encourage you. If you ever get a chance, it's just incredible. Like if you go in certain places and on vacation, like, yeah, it was fun. But now I don't have many places where I'm like, I'd go back. Tahoe made the list. I'd go back to do that.
I love that. That's awesome. That's a great trip.
Like whirlwinds, because as a parent, like you got kids and you're moving around. But like Tanner, our youngest, that's why we ended up in Des Moines. He was in a Iowa All-Star type deal out there, MVP deal. But so we left Sunday, about like Wednesday, Thursday is like kind of stuffy, blowing his nose a lot, blah, blah, blah. We get back in, and it's like his ears are hurting. So we went into one of the urgent cares real quick about 4 o'clock on Friday. Sinus infection, ear infection.
Perfect.
Antibiotics. He's like, load me up. We got in the car about 5 o'clock and drove to Des Moines.
Nice.
Yeah. As a parent, you know that. Like,
oh, yeah. One of my hockey kids had the same thing going on this weekend.
Yeah. And then you're kind of second guessing, like, as a parent, do I say, hey, we shouldn't go?
Yeah, of course.
But as a competitor, you're like, man, you earned the right to go do this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Because I want to go too.
No, you let them play. You got to let them play. Unless you're actively dying, you go play. Dave Kennedy, I had a sinus infection once in college when we were, must have been when I was a senior. I can't remember what year it was. But we had a game coming up, and I told Coach K, who was our strength coach at the time, I was like, dude, I feel terrible. He said, man, you're going to play the best game of your life because your body knows what to do. Now your head's going to be out of it. He said, you're not gonna worry about it at all. Your body already knows what to do. The best games anybody plays is when they're just sick. I'm like, okay, I'll be damned if it wasn't like the best game I ever played. Yeah, it was great.
Ever played? You showed up for work
because I was confident because he said that to me. Maybe he was just in my head. I love that.
Or maybe there's something to it. Michael Jordan, even though he thinks the pizza was poisoned.
Pizza was poisoned, but everybody calls it the flu game.
Yeah.
The pizza.
Yeah. Pizza. Hey. His body knew what to do.
So we got a lot to get to. We got the Dr. Dane Todd in the house. Fall camp. We got through a few days of fall camp so far. Doc, we've asked you about this before because it's various emotions probably, like you've talked about before. Give us the feeling as a freshman, fall camp. Because I know you've told your story about fall camp, about lifting.
Yeah.
You got to try hard at walking to fall camp because there's an emotion, there's a stair step of emotions from freshman year, senior year. But go through the freshman part first. And maybe, you probably can't speak to it yet, but transfers are probably walking the same way.
Yeah, there's nerves, obviously, a lot of nervousness, or at least there were for me. But a big part of that is because you don't really know where to go or what to do. Mm-hmm. People can tell you left and right. They can give you the schedule. They can do all that stuff. You don't really know how long is it going to take me to, get my stuff. How long does it take to walk out to the field? What does it look like rotating between stations? All those kind of little logistical things where things can go sideways, you don't know. And then you're walking in there with guys who have been doing it now, under rule for what is this year?
Year four for rule, yep.
Right? So they're I guess some players there who have been there for 4 years. I guess in this day is not as many as there would have been when I was there, right? But they all know exactly where to go and what to do and what the format's going to be like. And so there's a little more ease to it versus right now it's those freshmen are really drinking from a fire hose. Yeah. And then the other thing is the second you step on the field, then you've been working out all summer and you've been running and lifting with guys, but the speed is different. And that's the biggest change to everything is how fast it all goes. And so that'll catch a lot of those guys off guard right off the bat. They'll settle into things within, it's the first padded practice today, right? And so they'll settle into things by the end of this week. But you spend 2 weeks with your head spinning, and it's tough.
Did you have like a welcome to college football moment? I watched a guy this weekend. Video came across social media, just like, hey, somewhere out there in America, there is a incoming freshman that he was his small town's star athlete. He was their best football player, their best basketball player, their best baseball player. He just showed up to fall camp and inside run period, and he's playing linebacker, and he diagnosed the power right away. He's moving downhill, and he just got his head taken off by a senior offensive guard. He said, pray for that guy because he'll get it figured out, but he's in for a rough week. Did you have any moments that you think of, like the senior comes in and just decapitates you? Figuratively.
Trevor Johnson from Lincoln Northeast threw me like a discus. Like quite literally just threw me like a discus.
Chucked you out of the way.
Just
like, what are you doing here?
Well, and it was, we ran a reverse and Trevor misread the play. And so I blocked him off the end and, had him completely out of the play. Well, once he realized it was going the other direction and he was just out of the play, he just grabbed my shoulder pads with 2 hands, spun, and I think I flew 5 yards. And on film the next day, I was dreading film. It wasn't the next day. It was right afterwards because that's back when we practiced at least twice a day, right? I was cringing waiting for that play to come up, and that play comes up, and nobody in the room said any, like I was expecting to get blown up, but Dave Gillespie was the running back coach at that time, and Dave Gillespie just looks at me and looks at the room and he goes, yeah, sometimes Trevor just does that to people, and just moved on to the next play. It was like they all knew he was an absolute just freak. He just had that genetic strength, right? And they were like, yeah, sometimes Trevor just does that.
Dane, it's not just you.
It's not just you. We've all been thrown like a discus by Trevor.
What was it like also? I had that written down. Great question, Elijah. I written down and circled it. That was a great one. What was it? What were their emotions like when you put the pads on for the first time in practice? Because you've talked about this. At some point, you're going to get through 2 weeks of this, and you're going to go, I'm tired of hitting you. Hit somebody else.
Yeah.
But early on, you like, because I think you have to remember going through this. Yes, this is a team of 100+ kids, whatever. But there are position battles happening.
Yeah.
Because you're in a very fine line of good teammate, but I want to win.
Right. Yeah. The second the pads go on, it gets infinitely more competitive, right? Because then there's more at stake right there. And so it starts to get chippy fast, especially real early. It's kind of like when the first couple days of pads, it tends to be pretty chippy. Like that's when you saw a lot of, skirmishes, right? Ran a lot of stairs in the process. And then it calms down a little bit for, the next week or so once kind of everybody's gotten that out of their system. But then as you get towards the end of that second week where you're just pads all the time and just hitting each other, it starts to come back up, especially as you're getting towards that timeline where you're narrowing down who's going to be playing, who's going to be watching from the sideline, who's going to be on the scout team.
So the definition starts to happen. 'Cause I
Yeah.
always think that's very unique because obviously, in the media right now, we're talking about position battles, right? Because there's some out there. There's a running back room that a lot of people are interested in.
A lot of defensive line spots up for grabs.
There could be there's an offensive line spot still with a couple of guys.
The corner spot opposite Andrew Marshall. It does feel like from what we heard from Rule over the weekend, there's a few top candidates for that spot, but it still feels to be somewhat open.
Yep. Again, we got doctored into. I want to ask you about this too, Doc, because we've talked about this. This has been one of the quietest Nebraska off seasons.
Mm-hmm. It's
right
been
now.
great.
It's been great. No, I agree with you. It's been great, but it's been quiet. But talk about, first of all, how often as a player did you guys listen to coaches talk in the press and what you took away from them? Because we've talked about, with it being so quiet, coaches will say things, but you have to read between the lines, but they're talking to maybe you or somebody on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's happening, right? If Coach Rule or when Callahan got up there, he'd say something, you're like, oh, that might have been at me.
Yeah, I don't know that we really listened all that much. I never once listened to the press conference. I never once watched the, whatever the show that Solich would do the next day where they went through the game, did that
I
kind of
remember that.
stuff.
Yeah, they still do that show? The Sunday after, or they used to get at the desk, like the news desk, and break down the game and the film. And
Yeah, never did any of that stuff. And so I didn't pay any attention to it. The only times you would ever hear about anything, right, or I recall it, was when a coach would say something that kind of called out a specific player or a specific group of players. And honestly, it was not a motivating factor typically. It was you just figured out a way for us to kind of hate you kind of factor rather than, trying to really get guys going. It was more of a, why would you say that in public?
just come talk to me.
That's something that needs to be done in house. So, but otherwise, never really paid attention to it. Now, back then in the early 2000s, it wasn't, the media coverage of all of this wasn't quite as pervasive as it is now, right? There aren't.
When Callahan didn't seem like the soundbite guy.
Yeah, and Callahan wasn't much of a soundbite guy, and Solich certainly wasn't a soundbite guy, and so there just wasn't that much to it.
Well, you didn't have you had the TV stations, you had the radio shows, but you didn't have the million different people online doing their reaction, their breakdown, everything Coach Rule said today, everything assistant coach so-and-so said today.
Yeah, no, not there weren't. Yeah, just like you said, with all the social media and stuff now, everybody is an expert and everybody's dissecting everything that gets said, right? And that just didn't happen back then because people, unless they were in it as a actual career, right, they didn't have a platform for it really. So you had Steven Sipples, right, and other folks who would write about it, but unless you read it in the paper, you really didn't see any of it. So, and I read the comics, not the actual paper, so it was fine.
What was your favorite?
What was my favorite back in the day?
It's
That's a good
old classic.
question. Calvin and Hobbes was always my favorite.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
See, my youth, it was I think it's somewhat newer, but Pearls Before Swine.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a
Yes,
good one.
that was a good one.
Can't go wrong with
too.
old classic Peanuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the old Peanuts. Yeah, watching for Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football every time.
Kids don't get that anymore.
No, they don't. Oh, my son reads the comics whenever we
Yeah.
go over to Grandma's
Because
on
Grandma
Sunday.
still got the paper.
Because they still got the paper. They still got the
I
paper.
would say not many papers delivered anymore.
No, not many papers delivered anymore.
It's still in print. It's really good. So, all right, let's take our first break. And we come back. We're going to jump into a little baseball talk. And we are going to talk some injury stuff. Not even an injury. It's something that you can prevent by being preventative when we come back.
It's not working at all.
You're not getting any.
Yeah. There. Pull it out halfway.
How's that?
Keep going. Nothing. I'll just hang on to the cord. I think it's the.
Is it this thing
Yeah,
again?
it's that thing again.
Is it sound
Yeah,
good
but
now?
if I just hang on to it, I can hear. Yeah, there we
Top
go.
notch technology in here.
Classic.
Elijah, is it temp or local admin?
Great question. You could also, I think, just use your
Yes.
your account.
Yes. YZ in the house now.
I hate Apple
Oh.
products.
Sherman's Lagoon's another good one.
Oh, Sherman's Lagoon was good.
I got the daily ones.
I like
pulled up
that.
today.
You know what though? If you really want to do it right, you just go back to classic Far Side.
Yeah.
You just go
Good
Far
one.
Side.
Good one.
Single panel every time, always hit. It was perfect.
You guys are speaking a foreign language to me right now.
Reading the
we,
comics.
we had the growing up. We had the Far Side compilations at my house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are money. I had a Calvin and Hobbes, like my parents got me like a big book of it, and it was just giggling the whole time. And that was when I was in high school, man. Like it's not like I was a
read 'em
little
all the time
kid.
in high
Like, it
school.
was like that's when I read them.
Speaking of papers, my mom used to, single mom, 3 boys, worked her butt off. Actually, part of her gig was she actually had a paper route back in the day. She had like a big one, like a 200, 300 paper route, right? Houses or whatever. And part of our gig was we got up on Saturdays. She made us go into the distribution center and do the inserts for the Sunday paper.
Oh,
Put them together
yeah,
and use the machine to bind them.
yeah, nice.
And then we'd start like, this is crazy. Get up at like 2 in the morning,
Of course,
go in.
got to get that work
And then
done.
we started making money. We're like, hold on, man, if I'm going to do this for my mom, do this, guess what? We're going to do it for everybody else in here.
Oh,
So we started making some money. Never had to deliver them, but man.
yeah. Well, it's funny now because you don't see. Well, at least I don't see kids on bikes. Like that's the classic, right? A kid on a bike
Yes.
throwing papers out now.
In
The
the little basket.
the guy who
they have.
does the paper route in our neighborhood is like
Car.
I mean, I think he's my age, right? He's in a car driving around.
My mom used to always be in the car. Sometimes we'd go out with her on the Saturdays and whoosh, whoosh, throw them
Yeah.
out the window. She had one at one point during that she had an apartment complex. So me and my brother, of course, both brothers, we got in trouble. Not a bunch, but we tried to throw it to the 3rd floor.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Coming
That's a
back here.
problem if the
You can go your own way. Go your own way.
Welcome back in the morning hookup again. Happy Monday. Hope your week's off to a great start. Good morning, everybody hanging out and listening this morning. Good morning, Arlo. Good morning, Shane. Good morning, Flood X10. Oh! I have a cramp.
Oh boy. Oh
Cramping
boy.
up already here in the studio.
You hurry, lay down and act like you're dead.
Do I have to lay down?
Yeah.
What would you do? I'm going to lay down. Is that okay? I'm just going to be right here.
I'm gonna laugh at you, hand you a bottle of Triactin, and move on with my life.
It's that season.
It's that season. It's cramp season.
You want to give them the lowdown, how they can stay away. One, if you're in attendance and the doc's on the sideline, because he does take care of some high schools here in town. Southeast, Standing Bear.
Yeah,
Those two, right?
Southeast Standing Bear gonna help out with some Norris, and then we kind of, as guys have other things going on because my group divides up basically every single school
Mm-hmm.
in and around the city, and so if guys need coverage because they've got something else going on, right?
You're
Give us a
there.
call. I'll be covering a ton of Stars games this year too.
Hockey players don't cramp up, though.
No,
They know how to slide off the ice. If
Yeah,
they do, and not tell
they
anybody.
getting off the ice. They do.
Well, it's because hockey's an easy sport.
Yeah,
That's why they don't cramp up.
So simple, just the easiest, right? Just the
Man.
easiest.
This is our segment
Yeah,
for the next
I will-
20 minutes.
Yeah, I know, right? So I would say the actual preventative portion of cramping, right, is like if you haven't done anything thus far, done this one specific thing thus far, they ain't making up for it at this point.
You're in trouble.
And that is being in good shape and condition, right? And so that's something that has to occur over the entire summer leading up to the football season, right? It's just talking about football alone, right? Now, the secondary things that you got to do is hydrate like crazy, right?
How many, if it's today, if you're practicing today, which is going to be like heat index is up to 100,
Yeah.
when should you have started?
yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
right? You should have started yesterday. And, there's a lot of science behind how much fluid to drink and those sorts of things. And it's pretty well established, though, that you need to replenish more fluid than you lose in sweat. Now, down at the university, everybody gets weighed before and after every single practice, right? And so you know exactly how much. And it used to be a nightmare going in there, and you'd found out that you went down 4 pounds by the end of a practice because they'd hand you 5 Gatorades that you were supposed to drink before the next one.
48-year-old man goes, "Woo!"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yes!
exactly. Be super stoked, right? It's like me after a sauna, right? I'm like, yeah. You never weigh yourself before
Can
the
I
sauna,
just
only
stay?
after.
Can I just live here, please,
Yeah,
for a moment?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
know when I eat that cheeseburger, I'll be up above a pound of that.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the big thing and then also hydrating while you're in competition, right? And while you're practicing is really important as well. And I can't remember exact numbers of amount of ounces of fluid you're supposed to be taking in, but the electrolytes are a big thing these days, right? Everybody hears about electrolytes. They're important to a certain extent, but in reality, drinking water's vital to begin with. And if you're not doing long competition stuff, you don't need all the sugar and other stuff that's in sports drinks, right? Like that's for endurance athletes who are trying to replenish, carbohydrates while they're competing. But drinking fluids, right? Water, electrolytes, they're your standard Gatorades and Propels, that kind of stuff are tantamount, and you absolutely have to keep that going while you're doing it. Now, here's the other fun thing. If you look at it, I read this somewhere a couple years ago, but if you look at the nutritional value of things and what it'll
Don't do
actually
that.
recover, right? Like it's actually way better for you to eat a banana and drink a glass of water than it is to drink Gatorade, right? And here's the other side of it too. If you're an athlete who's got to, try to either cut some weight or try to maintain a certain weight, there's a ton of calories in Gatorade, right? And it's just straight up sugar. Like that's exactly what it is. And so I remember having this conversation with Chris LaFleur at the university. He never played much. His brother Mark played a fair bit. But Chris was like, man, I can't lose this weight. And I was like, as he's drinking a Gatorade, I'm like, dude, how much Gatorade do you drink a day? He's like, well, like 4 Gatorades. I'm like, okay, maybe
Drink
we
2.
just drink water instead. And 2 weeks later, he's like, dude, the weight's gone. I'm like, yep.
That's you just cut 600 calories
you
out.
just cut out a ton of calories right there just by not drinking it. So
Give me a myth buster. Is pickle juice the way to go when you're cramping up, or is that because my kids are like, where's the pickle shot? The juice, get the pickle juice.
Yeah, well, it's
I
just
don't know.
highly concentrated salt with electrolytes, right? And so it's helping to replenish that sodium chloride that you lose, right? And so sure, but in reality, like you could just be better hydrated at baseline and probably not have an issue.
Don't want to cramp? Drink water.
Yeah.
Before.
Exactly.
24 to 40 hours before. There you go.
Now, here's the other thing. Sometimes people cramp because of the way that they compete, right? And it has nothing to do with the hydration. I played football with a guy, in high school and at the university who would cramp no matter what we were doing. They literally sent him down to the Gatorade Institute to try to figure out what was going on. And lo and behold, they discovered that what he was doing is at the start of every single play, he would take a huge deep breath and hold his breath for the entire play. He would not breathe while he was playing.
And
It
that
was
would
just
cramp.
it was just this insane habit that he had developed over the years of playing.
That's crazy.
And turns out that's what was because he was just running anaerobic the entire time. So
Well, it was Darren Peterson, right?
For Kansas,
For
yeah.
Kansas, that they same issue, blah, 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 but they ended up finding out high creatine levels.
yeah.
Too much creatine
Yeah.
was causing the issues throughout the season.
Interesting. Which is interesting. Like naturally, obviously, like not supplementing.
Whatever he was doing, they
Yeah.
ended up saying, all right, because it was all year long ago, he was missing time and he'd play a half and couldn't play the rest because he's so severely, that the cramps were so
Yeah.
bad.
Wouldn't that go hand in hand with dehydration? Because with creatine, you have to drink a lot of water in order for it to actually work.
Yeah, it is. But there's a lot of good evidence about creatine not creating bulkiness and not hanging on to water as much if you're doing it in smaller amounts, like just 5 grams. A lot of brain health things and muscle health things that creatine helps with. In fact, it's something that a lot of people just supplement on a daily basis. I've got a jar of it in the cupboard that when I remember to take it, like I do it, and it's not like I gain any weight
It's
from
right
it.
by, it's right by the ginkgo.
It's one of the, if not
It's right next to the coffee.
It's the most like tested supplement ever. Like very
Yeah.
placebo studies, blind studies. It's all.
Oh,
proven
it
itself
is.
to be incredibly
Yeah,
beneficial.
it is the holy grail of supplements, right? Like people should genuinely just consider taking it, right, on a routine basis, even if you're not a big exercise person or anything else, because there are significant brain health benefits to it. So that's, weird. Look at us. We're a health
know.
show now.
I know. Well, we got the doc.
And
That's the best
it's
in the
like
business.
pseudoscience, right? When it comes to these things, I mean the words coming out of my mouth, not the actual studies on the creatine, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But it's that time of the season where
Yeah.
you get the ability, you're around it and help people
yeah,
to understand, like, it. Again, you're so well versed in all of it, not just surgeries and hips and ankles and things, but here's preventative measures for all you high school kids mainly, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you're going in the season where it is seasonally unstable sometimes. Where it's like the other day I was gone, but I think it was like 70s here, right? Like cloudy 70s, some rain, whatever. But then this week, there's a lot of high school camps starting this week, or is it this week?
This week, the vast majority of them start today. The week 0 teams, which in Lincoln are Standing Bear and Northwest.
Yeah, so you're gonna
they
walk.
started last week.
So you're walking dead into it this week.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're gonna see a plethora.
Yeah, and
Check that. Not many, but plethora.
yeah, that's a
of
good word.
kids on the ground. You're gonna go.
Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch.
Like as a doc, you can't be like, get up. Like
Yeah. Sure you can.
do you just like mosey over?
Oh, I don't even go out there. Listen, there's
There
no.
was that one game. I think you were there last year, whatever it was. There was one game I was at. I think you were there. There were so many cramps on the field. Opposing players were helping each other.
Yeah, yeah, to get each
Three
other
dudes
off.
down at once, and like, yeah, it was the greatest thing ever. And like, no doctors, which
Yeah.
was great.
No, there's no.
Like, get up, man.
Well, and here's part of it though, right? Like, I don't go out on the field unless the trainer needs me out on the field, right? And something better be bad for that to be occurring, right? The athletic trainers do an incredible job. They work with these athletes every single day. They have a ton of medical knowledge. They know how to triage everything, and I'm just there to help support them. I'm not there as being the person running the show until I have to be the person running the show, right? And those times, knock on wood, are very few and far between, and which is fine. Mostly I'm just there hanging out, watching football and making fun of kids when they come off with cramps.
It's the doctor. It's Dr. Dane Todd.
And anybody who's been around me, and like any of my patients who've known me for a long time, or the trainers or coaches and teams I work with, they know I'm gonna make fun of you. Yeah. They know it.
The doctor, by the way, who also celebrated a birthday a few days ago.
I did. I'm catching up on you.
Yeah, it's a race,
Yeah, it is a race.
but it's never one that you can ever catch.
I'm not-
No, we can.
I'm not saying I'm not living in it. I already have anxiety. Okay, you can, but we're not going there. I tend to live in the positives, right? Okay.
I'm still several years away
Elijah,
from
I'm
50.
sitting over here already like, man.
There is a very real, actually, way that you can't
Can we
catch.
not talk about this? As I thought I was having heat stroke yesterday in Des Moines, Iowa. It was so hot.
Well, I mean, that's reasonable to think you were
I
having
drank
that.
so much water.
Well, that's why.
yesterday.
That's because you were at baseball, man.
Yeah, I drank
Like,
so much water
I'm
yesterday.
just
man.
so hot out
I got
there.
stung
at
by a
times.
sweat bee.
Yeah, he's got this big old swollen
Like
neck.
right here. It's not bad anymore. It's
It looks terrible, dude.
thanks
It's
now.
huge.
See?
We
He's a
can,
hypochondriac.
we
You can't be
can
doing
all
that.
notice it.
I'm gonna do that too, especially
My
now
wife-
that I know he's
my
such a
wife's
hypochondriac.
like, "What's your problem?" I'm like, "No, I just know I got knocked yesterday with one because they were everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and
They're just sort of like these little things just flying around. Like
well,
on
what
your
happens when
legs
those little black and white bugs start coming out this year? You know what I'm talking about? Those little things that just appear.
Are
and
those
just,
are those the no-see-me's? That's
Yeah.
not them, right? Is that what they're called?
I think so.
I call them
something
the
like-
little black and white bugs that come out.
Yeah, I do too, honestly, because I don't really. There's a name for them, but I
That's
don't know
their
what
name.
it is.
No,
The
that's
bugs
their
I
name.
know mosquitoes. I know June bugs. I know big spiders and small spiders.
Wow, you're
and-
diverse.
Oh, and houseflies.
House flies. Yeah, that's fair.
That's just any fly that anybody leaves the door open, they get in your house.
I say aside from the horse flies, also the big
Oh,
ones.
horse flies are the worst.
Yeah.
Those are bad. Although I would, yeah, at least I can see them coming. You know, those little black and white bugs.
Well, you can hear the horse flies coming.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can feel them when they get you.
Oh, you haven't gotten got? I've
Oh
seen- yeah.
gosh!
You
of
ever
course.
gotten got?
Everybody's gotten got.
Yeah, if you ain't
Right.
gotten got, you ain't living.
Things hurt like a son of a gun.
Boy, speaking of that, a little baseball talk real quick is we're like 45 games away from the end of the regular season, roughly, if you are keeping a score at home. And the standings are kind of starting to define themselves a little bit after the week, as now as you look at Tampa Bay, it's crazy. Tampa Bay just hanging on to that lead and actually increased the lead over the Yankees over the weekend, 5.5 games up. Boston still hovering. I know they've lost 2 straight. Don't be too reactionary, okay?
It's still what 25 of their last 30.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not too
they're fine.
high, not too low.
Did not play
YZ.
well this weekend, but
Nope, that's
they're
all right.
fine.
They're only
fine.
7 games back. We'll get to the wild card in a minute. The White Sox have increased just a little bit out there as they're 3.5 up on Detroit. Have you thought about Detroit at all, just based on the fact that they did trade away arguably the best, one of the best pitchers in baseball to the Evil Empire? And if somehow they continue and make the playoffs, they're probably going to say, "I won the trade," right? When you look at that, they're only 3.5 games out of first place right now. Royals, we don't need to talk about it. But again, Detroit 3.5, Minnesota and Cleveland only 4.5. So you got 4. It's a 4-team race in that one. Houston and Texas, they just keep going back and forth with each other right now. As Houston has a half-game lead on Texas.
Is there any concern? We talk about the Evil Empire. They've been bad as of late.
Ooh-wee, I'm getting to them.
Do we need to? Because
We're
it's
getting there.
crazy. Did they lose 9 straight?
Yes.
And they still have a 7.5 game lead in the NL
Yeah.
West.
Atlanta, we'll get there. That's coming up. Atlanta, 8.5 games. They get a much needed win yesterday against one of the other Evil Empires, the Yankees. They played the Braves played 3 one-run games
Nice.
in that series. A 3-2 loss, a 5-4 loss, and a 2-1 win yesterday. As there was a lot of shenanigans in that one as well. If you saw it, Chris Sale called for a balk, which apparently did not declare he was going in the windup. Whatever. But then yesterday, as the umpires were coming on the field, Sale apparently did not get enough. He must have missed saying something. As the umpires were walking across, the umpire that called the balk, he let him know about it and was immediately kicked out before they even got to home plate.
Good.
Nice. Nice.
Good.
He kind of wasn't done yet, okay? And they booted him out. But they maintain an 8.5 game lead there. Cubs creeping just a little bit. Both these teams are hot right now. 7 out of 10 victories. Milwaukee's still 5.5 up. Did you see the Miz yesterday? I mean, he gets a no decision, but in the no decision, what was it? I took the
Fastest
picture.
player in history to reach 200 strikeouts. Or second fastest.
Second.
Sorry, second fastest.
Also becomes, by the way, the second pitcher to have a sub 2 ERA and 200 Ks in first 22 games of the season since 1913. There's only been one other. Another one did it twice. Any ideas? So under a
1913?
two yeah. So
That guy'd
since
be your age.
1913, that's close to me, way closer to Moats. But 2 pitchers have done it. Both have 2 pitchers. One did it twice. Sub 2 ERA and 200 strikeouts in the first 22 games of the season.
Can you give us a year?
Well, 97 and 2000. The Miz just did it in 26.
Wait, the guy did it in both 97 and 2000?
2000.
Nolan Ryan.
No,
Maddox?
no. You should be getting this.
Pedro Martinez.
Pedro Martinez.
Ah.
Pedro Martinez did it twice. Sub ERA of 200 strikeouts in 22 games. The Miz just did it. They have a 5.5 game lead. The Dodgers, the Evil Empire, talked about it. They are now, boy, they're reeling. They've only won 2 of their last 10. They lost 9 straight. Skubal gets beaten his first start as he out there in Chavez Ravine. And flip side of that, look at the 2 teams below them. 6 out of 10. The Diamondbacks are now 7.5 back. This was 12 to 14 games at one point. And now San Diego, red hot, 7 out of 10, only 8.5 back.
And part of me wonders if this is a team that is just so good and had such a big lead in the NL West that they got to the dog days of summer and just kind of sat back and said, well, as long as we make the playoffs.
Load management.
Well, maybe not
It's
like
NBA style.
Well, I don't think it's like that. I think it's like whether teams think about it or not, they take their foot off the gas just a little bit once you've built up a huge lead and you get to these super hot days in August where I just want to be playing postseason baseball right now, and you take the foot off the gas a little bit.
Is it just, hey, I'm waiting for our dudes to get back because it sounds like Scubo's going to make his next start, then Schnell will come back as well. You'll get all these guys will come back. This is a team. You worry about the dog days, but you also worry about complacency.
That's kind of where I'm.
Just get me
the combination.
Dudes, we're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're probably there now with 45 games left. I know the magic number is still higher, but we're there. Just get us to the playoffs and get us there healthy. Mm-hmm. Not another major injury, and we'll be fine.
It's wild to think, though, you say 45 games left, and that's still more than a quarter of the season remaining.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, it's
Insane.
so many games.
Wild card, Yankees 7 up. Boston still cushiony 5.5 up. Texas sits there. Now you've got some teams who have made some hay in the last couple of weeks. When you look at the AL wild card, because we thought, oh man, this AL wild card maybe it'll space it safe out. But now you got Detroit, Minnesota, Cleveland, Baltimore, all within 2 games of that last spot. And you probably can't count out Seattle at 3.5. But they haven't played great baseball. So now you got 4 teams within 2 games of the final wild card spot. So a lot to be defined there. Cubs comfortably up 6 games. The NL wild card, probably just as tight when you look at it from the numbers. Right now, in a dead tie in the second and third spot, you got Arizona and Philadelphia tied. They both own a spot right now. But then there's those Padres. 1 game back. And again, I think there's less teams in the mix for the NL than there are the AL.
Don't count the Cardinals either.
I don't, but I think there's more pretenders in the NL than there are the AL. And I'd say, I think the Padres are always going to end up getting in the playoffs somehow. Mm-hmm. Boy, I tell you what, red hot Fernando Tatis right now. Mm-hmm. 3 home runs in his last 5 games. He hit a moonshot yesterday. Boy, my goodness, that thing was a tank. But they're a game back. And then you start questioning, is Miami or St. Louis pretenders, or are they really in the race? Don't know. Those are questions to be asked. Because I think that's about where the race is right now. Minus that, Pittsburgh, Washington, Cincinnati, all pretenders. Mm-hmm. Yep. If they get in, it's because they got some lightning in a bottle hot at that level. There's your baseball.
Dane, I wanted to ask you, going back to Mizorowski, do you ever get anything with baseball players, specifically pitchers, like with a guy like that throws so hard and the action that happens with your elbow? Like, how does this guy's arm not fall off?
He's thrown, I think it's updated, but he's thrown like some words north of 750 pitches this year, over 100.
Yeah, it's insane.
And so, are some guys just blessed with extra elasticity in their arms to be able to do that?
Like Happy Gilmore too, right?
Well, that was surgical.
or Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. Yeah. I don't genuinely know how that a guy can do that, right? Now, how tall is he?
Like 6'6", 6'7".
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got a Randy Johnson thing going on, right? Okay. Where there's obviously there's a leverage component to it. Okay. So he's just able to generate more force and use leverage better than other guys can. But there also has to be an accommodation side of it where his body can anybody reasonably guess how many times he's thrown a baseball in the course of his life, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so his body has changed to accommodate that, right? And so it's a combination of those two things. And then obviously great mechanics and all the other things that come with, time and skill and being an elite athlete, right? They'll allow him to do. But if you look at the forces that are going through the elbow and the shoulder when a baseball player throws a fastball, theoretically, the forces going through it are higher than the body should be able to accommodate. And so there's something else occurring there that just is unique. So I don't know. There's not, and you don't see anything unique amongst that aside from, guys blowing out their UCLs or getting elbow pain and getting strains on things, because in reality that comes with throwing hard.
I had one more. The Red Sox picked up a guy named Curtis Mead at the trade deadline. He had one at bat, and then in his second at bat, took a fastball on the wrist. Initial X-ray came back negative, and then came out the next day that his wrist was actually fractured. Is that common?
Yeah, that's not uncommon. Now, and here's the other thing. They may be calling it fractured, right? Just based on what the MRI showed of it. When in reality, I would clinically look at it as a bone bruise, right? But the radiology terminology for that type of signal that shows up in bones is classified as fracture, right? Whereas to me, from a clinical standpoint, it's bone bruising, right? It's got to be treated similar to if it were broken. It's just that structurally the bone's still intact in those scenarios. And so it's like, well, yeah, technically it's broken, but in reality this is bruised, and we've just got to give it time to heal.
From what I understand, like swelling can kind of show on the MRI. It can kind of like mask it a little bit.
Well, it's edema within the bone, so it's inflammation within the bone that you end up seeing on the MRI.
Okay.
Rather than, it doesn't really swell. I suppose it's kind of swollen inside the bone, but it's not like the bone expands or anything, not like on top of the skin, right? And so that's what you end up seeing is, we call it signal on the MRI, but it's really inflammation and edema within the bone itself.
Okay.
Good stuff. Look at that. Baseball, sports, doc news.
We're
Just like
nerding
that.
out today, dude.
I love it. I'm feeling really good about it. So, thinking that, we'll take our final break of the hour and come back with this day in sports. I felt like a total what was that?
That was our ad.
Oveja pequeñita.
Una oveja pequeñita.
I just heard like
Bueno,
a
Pretty
moaning
sure that's
sound.
Spanish.
You'd been, I totally was a
But they're cute.
That's what it was.
nerding out. Like, so I'm in at the CIS tournament, the MVP tournament, and so it's not a lot of, there's a ton of kids from Iowa because it's a lot of Iowa tournaments. They get nominated based on going to Des Moines and playing in a tournament, get to go. So I started talking one of the dads there, and his kid pitches, and he was asking about this and that. So got into like nerding out, Dane, and my philosophy on pitching. And he was like, this and this. I said, well, ultimately, number one, it's the health of the kid's arm. And the question you asked was, can we feasibly figure out how many pitches or something he's thrown? We got into throw count conversations, and he was blown away
Oh, I love that.
by throw count, because he's like, so what do you, Bob said, well, the way I do it is I feasibly put a number to every throw, right? So I said, roughly, if a kid's going to pitch, I said, roughly, I'm going to say, all right, he's going to throw 40 pitches between warm-ups and warm-up, right? So I throw a number of 40 at it. Then I'm going to say, well, he's probably going to throw 60 on the mound. So look, we're at 100.
Yep.
Just that, just basic 100 pitches,
Yep.
100 throws.
Yep. 100
like-
throws.
Never looked at it that way. I said, but then your responsibility doesn't stop there, because how many times do we send that kid to shortstop
Yeah, exactly.
or that? I said, philosophy-wise, is you send him to right field or you send him to the bench.
And I will say that parents are becoming much more savvy about this too. I've noticed that over the last few years, right? Where they'll come in and say, oh, we got on a new team and he's throwing too much.
Yes, he's
Right?
throwing too
He's throwing too much, and we know this,
Yes.
and we're going to change teams this season.
We're giving a philosophy.
How do we get through this year?
Yep.
I said, this letter.
Yes. Yes.
Right? You
Yes.
know?
Yeah, most of the time when we had kids pitch, you pitch, and then, go take a seat, bud.
Go
You're-
sit for it. You know, chill out, man.
Yeah.
And then we got into philosophies of, what do you think about icing? I said, it's great. Go ice.
Yeah.
But I said, it's, to me, it's more about day 2 and day 3. Are you getting back out and stretching? Are you getting some cardio running in, some things like that? And by day 3, mine was for my college days. This was my plan. Yeah, we iced 20 on, 20 off, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Arm in the bucket. It's fine. But the next day, they had us bands and stretching and running for a full practice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then day 3, I was back in the bullpen throwing lawn toss,
Yeah.
keeping the arm moving.
Active recovery.
Yes. So he was like, "That's not what we do here." I'm like,
Oh,
Well, maybe it should.
and then
be.
I got not heated. And I'm like, well, that's the entire problem with select sports and baseball.
we would take them through
Right.
a big long warm up and then big long recovery. It's huge. It's
Yeah,
so huge for
just
arm health.
Getting in that mind, the throw count.
Yeah.
The throw count. He's like, man, I wish you lived in Iowa. I said, I wish I didn't.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
should tell
Right.
tell some of these parents and some of these kids. You ever seen Paul Skeen's warm up? Like he goes through an extensive warm up because you have to.
It's like you talk about. Like we talk a lot about. It's amazing how what prepping and stretching and all that. Like watch a PGA
Coming
Tour.
back here.
Like welcome back in the morning hookup. A few moments left hanging. Thanks for hanging out with us on a beautiful Monday morning. It's gonna heat up, folks. Don't let it fool you. Heat indexes are coming. Possible some more rain this weekend, midweek maybe.
Good for my lawn.
Yeah, I guess. Not good for other stuff.
Had a big old branch fall out of my maple tree in the front yard this
Well,
week.
you live in an area with trees
Big old trees.
older than Thew Malone.
Yeah, it's true. Got my chainsaw to run though. That was nice.
Bing!
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
Yeah, even
Were you
sharpened it
Were
afterwards.
you, is that one of those you grab? You're like, oh, come on, I hope you work.
Oh yeah, 100% every time, right?
Oh,
I got to
man.
get it tuned up though. It was,
But like you hope it works because you're excited to use it.
yeah. That's not so much. I'm excited to use it. I'm excited to get that
But you want to
branch
show
out of
your
my
kids,
yard.
you're like, kids, watch this.
Chainsaws are fun.
Yeah.
You have the chainsaw pants, yeah?
Yeah,
The special ones? Yeah.
Yeah,
My
I
dad
mean-
didn't wear his once and took a big old chunk out of his leg.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
not like Chevy Chase type stuff and like Christmas Vacation.
yeah,
Right?
pretty much. Actually, I don't wear the Jason mask though.
Boy, how about this day in 1934? Babe Ruth announced this is his final season as a full-time player. Speaking of old, Babe Ruth.
Are there any big cramping stories in this dance
I
sports
don't know.
history?
I know, right? Yeah.
This
yeah.
is crazy, boy. You don't see this anymore, boy. What I wonder how quickly this game was and how bad the Reds were back then. In 1944, Braves Red Barrett throws only 58 pitches to shut out the Reds 2-0.
That's actually super impressive. That's really impressive.
How many
That guy
innings-
could have started the
was
next
that-
game.
Was that a 9-inning game?
That's wild.
6 pitches an inning or something roughly. Just throw the math out there. 6.4.
Pitching to contact.
All right, baby.
How about 1984? The U.S. men's national team in basketball wins U.S. Olympic gold in Spain.
Oh, hello.
1981, Pete Rose with his 3,631st career hit breaks Stan Musial's National League hit record.
Is that guy in the Hall of Fame?
No, he is not.
Forgot about that.
Still banned from baseball.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well,
This is crazy. Like, go back. You like look at contracts now. In 1997, Atlanta Braves signed Greg Maddux. It's a record deal, by the way, to a then record 5-year deal worth $57.5 million, making him the highest paid player in baseball back in 1997.
On that same day,
Like
in
10 million or something.
On that same day in 1997, Tony Phillips of the Anaheim Angels arrested for purchasing cocaine.
In other news,
nice.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
oh, that's awesome.
Opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, very much so. That's wild. 97. That was 30 years ago.
Think about that. 30 years ago, the record deal was just over 10 million a year
Yeah.
for
Now,
a pitcher.
yeah. Now your last place player on the team is getting paid that much.
On this day in 2008, the greatest of all time in his sport, Michael Phelps wins the 400-meter individual medley at the Beijing Olympics en route to his record-setting, was it 8 gold medals in that
It's
Olympics?
8 gold medals. Wild. I was when I was in Atlanta, there was a swim, like a pool where they did lessons and swim team stuff close to our house. And when our kids were little, we were drown proofing them. And went there, and the pool records were up on the wall, and Michael Phelps was up there for basically every single record that there
It's
was.
gotta be unfair.
Yeah, exactly right. I don't know where he was from. I think he was from Alabama, but I can't.
Not fair.
I don't know. But
Never gonna catch that.
yeah, it was wild seeing Phelps up there.
Speaking of those records, did you see yesterday? Because we talk about records that maybe never be broken. It shows you how baseball, the Iron Man, Cal Ripken, 2,600 and whatever, right? Matt Olson played in his 900th consecutive yesterday.
Long ways to go.
Yeah, just a
We
few.
were trying to, my son and I were trying to calculate. He'll be retired before he can catch it.
Yeah.
He's playing when he's 60.
There's another guy that was just above him, I think 1,000.
Oh.
You don't see that anymore,
Yeah, 'cause
those
there's-
streaks.
162 in a season. Wow. And Matt Olson's probably 30
He's
already.
32 years old.
Yeah.
Gretzky's assist record will never be touched. His points record
Mm-hmm.
will never be touched.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's the hour?
That's the hour.
That was fast.
Oh, my gosh. Well, Doc, appreciate you.
Nice seeing you guys.
Great seeing you back. We got DrDaneTodd.com, 402-484-4012. Don't call about cramping. Call about real needs. You need the doc. Guys are awesome. Coming up, we'll talk some golf. Evan Blam, Omaha, we're here and a whole lot more. Sit back, relax. We'll be right back.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that split-second moment in time, her life changes forever. The toll of breast cancer is great. The need to support those who are battling the disease today is even greater. And that's why when others look away, Susan G. Komen leans in. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change a lifetime. Fighting breast cancer takes funding for research to discover the next new treatment, providing access to quality and affordable health care, and people willing to take action by raising funds and raising their voice to advocate for others. United by hope, we can end breast cancer. Join our fight. Save lives.
When you choose new flooring, you don't want to wait for weeks or months to enjoy it. You want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. We hear stories every day about long waits and installation charges way higher than necessary. When you choose O Street Carpet, we'll measure free, install right away, and at a much better price. Stop in, shop now. Proud to be Lincoln's choice for nearly 50 years.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you so.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human
Lincoln's
Services.
local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry. Mary Preston. The latest foodborne illness outbreak, salmonella, is affecting more people in more stores. At first, jalapeno pepper recalls applied only to Qdoba and Chipotle restaurants. Now, major grocery stores are also on alert, says ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
They were sold at stores including Kroger, H-E-B, Walmart, and Albertsons, with use-by dates between August 3rd and 16th. Now, along with that, Taylor Farms, the company linked to the record cyclosporiasis outbreak, tells us that it's recalling additional foods with jalapenos like guacamole and salsa. These products were sold at stores including Target, Whole Foods, and Trader Joe's.
So far, the salmonella linked to jalapenos has sickened 375 people in 27 states. More than 100 wildfires are currently burning across the West. So far this summer, about 3 million acres have been scorched. There's a water crisis underway in Puerto Rico. It's only getting worse. ABC's Victor Oquendo's in San Juan, where water is being rationed 48 hours on, 48 off.
July was the driest month ever recorded in San Juan in more than 120 years. Roughly 68% of Puerto Rico is now experiencing extreme drought, and there is little relief in sight. The Carraízo Reservoir, the primary drinking source for the city of San Juan, looking depleted. The Puerto Rican National Guard has been working since June to alleviate conditions, distributing over 500,000 gallons of water to residents already.
President Trump is hinting that the U.S. will impose more economic pain on Iran as punishment for not reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Iran insists it won't do so until the U.S., quote, corrects its behavior. ABC's Shannon Kingston at the State Department.
After decades of sanctions, Iran is pretty good at withstanding economic turmoil, economic pain. So it really is a bit of a game of chicken at who is going to balk first.
A major earthquake in western Colombia, evacuations, damage, and an unspecified number of injuries. This is
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
A deadly crash from over the weekend continues to be under investigation. Good morning, I'm Jeff Modes. Right now, 77 degrees at KFOR. A 35-year-old Lincoln man died in a single vehicle crash late Friday night just southwest of Lincoln. According to Lancaster County Sheriff's Office, Gavin Kroll was driving an SUV heading westbound when he lost control and rolled the vehicle at Southwest 84th and West Van Dorn. Deputies say Kroll was partially ejected and pronounced dead at the scene. That investigation is ongoing. A water line broke last Thursday at the Nebraska State Penitentiary off of 14th and Nebraska Parkway, and inmates have to use water bottles and portable toilets for now. The Nebraska Department of Corrections said Sunday that 2 water mains have been affected in a big portion of the prison. The first water line break happened Thursday near the library and was fixed Friday, but also on Friday, a new leak was found by one of the housing units. NDCS says that parts were needed to fix the leak and that repairs will be completed by either today or tomorrow. In July, 6 explorers with Lincoln Police Department's Explorers Program and their advisors participated in a week-long program and competition down in St. Louis. The competition is a series of mock calls for service where explorers are graded on their response and work in incident. LPD investigator Sarah Mueller.
It was first place in domestic intervention, second in officer assist, and then third in crime scene and crisis intervention. And then one of our explorers also got the Director's Award, and this award was individually for one person who displayed leadership, perseverance, teamwork, and then motivated teamwork.
The LPD Explorers Program is a hands-on program sponsored by the Boy Scouts of America and Learning for Life. It's open to kids between 14 and 20 years old. The first meeting of the 2026-27 school year is coming up September 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Southeast Team Station off of 66th and Pine Lake Road. It's free and open to those kids in that age range. Today, partly sunny and a high of 90. Clear and a slight chance of late-night thunderstorms tonight, a low of 74. Sunny tomorrow and a high of 93. I'm Jeff Motes, KFOR News.
Hi, this is Dave with Dave's Heating and Air, Lincoln's local family-owned heating and air business.
Dave's Heating and Air is Lincoln's professionals you can trust. Whether you need service, repairs, or a new system, Dave's is here for you. Dave's wants your home to feel comfortable and cozy. Get the peace of mind guarantee and call Dave's for your HVAC needs.
Call me today at 402-480-3004 and talk with a professional. Dave's Heating and Air, doing whatever it takes.
I'm Ernie Hudson, actor, cancer survivor, and father of 4. As a dad, there's nothing I wouldn't do to protect my kids from cancer. The human papillomavirus, or HPV, can cause 6 types of cancer, but the HPV vaccine can stop cancer before it starts. Girls and boys should get the vaccine at 11 or 12, and there's a catch-up option for teens and young adults.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Song of the South, sweet potato pie, and I shut my mouth. Gone with the wind, there ain't nobody looking back again.
Welcome back to the Morning Hookup, hour number 2. I can let that play forever. I feel like you know this part. No?
I know it. I know the song.
I'm a big chorus guy in this one. It just does something to you.
Yeah. It makes me feel like I'm actually from, like, the backwoods of Georgia, you know?
Whew. Which, speaking of that, we'll talk this week of backwoods. Carpet land of Lincoln. Back in the American Legion Championship Series, right? That's what we call it.
The World Series.
Shelby, North Carolina. This is what they play with banjos there, boys and girls. My mouth.
And that East team, they battled too.
Gone with the wind.
They found themselves in the losers bracket after Friday. They had to win 4 straight to go win the regional.
And they did it.
And they did it pretty handily. They're pitching really.
They finished 5-1, 5-1. That was the 2 yesterday. 5-1, 5-1. Yeah. Getting it done. The bats came up, got enough. Pitching got enough. Defense got enough. They're back.
What a program they have up there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
In the American Legion World Series in 3 out of 4 years now.
Wow. I've played in Shelby, North Carolina. It's an interesting environment, folks.
You got folks like sitting there in their rocking chairs.
I played there before a couple times, pitched there, and I'm still the same person, but the words that I use and the emotions that I used when I pitched were a lot different back then when I was 18, 19 years old, 17, 18, 19. I won there, and I let them know about it because they were letting me know how bad and how much they thought of me.
I did this video of we need to start miking up pitchers by putting mics in their gloves.
Yeah, I let them know. I had to. My coach, my Legion coach. Pitchers talk a lot. Oh yeah. I was very patient on the mound. You know, I didn't talk a lot while it was happening. I didn't show a lot of emotions, but like. You can hear stuff being said. And so when we won, my fingers, I don't know. I let my stuff do the talking.
You told them they were number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my coach came out, which was, I still love him to death. He's like, we got to get out of here, man. We got to stop. We got to get out of here. Because it was about to rain on our parade. Because now when I played, we were actually playing the local home team.
The gift's not playing. I thought maybe the gift would play. You guys remember this guy?
Yeah.
Let me go there. Home out.
Louisville, the College World Series?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was like when I won. One of the most rewarding times in baseball I ever had.
I got it. I got it now.
It was really rewarding. But yeah, you got it where you can see his mouth, not hear it.
I have to do one little conversion here.
Okay.
Give me a second.
I like this. This guy was about that. I did this in Shelby, North Carolina.
Processing.
Sometimes you got to though.
Yeah.
Especially when they start at first.
So you didn't get to talk about this. I don't think, Hook. See, we talked about. Oh yeah, we did. Because you joined. We talked about Jeffrey Yan for the Mets. I am the pitcher that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I am. Yeah. I am counting down. We are gonna get, if all goes to plan, at least one charging of the mound with that.
Oh, it's
guy.
happening. There's no doubt. There is no doubt. But like we talked about that.
Got it.
Yeah, that was me. But Yep. Hello, Hooksy. Hello. But at the same time that was happening, mine was directed towards the crowd. My head was turned, and my coach was grabbing me at the same time. We're like, we won, but we got to go. But agree. We go back. We'll get to golf in a minute. But like we talked about this, like that happens. But I'm not a fan. I'm a documented old man, but a documented fan. Not a fan of bat flips. Not a fan of all the chirping. But if hitters are going to do it and it's going to be allowed, like I think it's for both. It's fine, right? To an extent, right? It's okay to like if you're going to bat flip, vice versa. Pitchers get to talk to. But like, just keep it in check a little bit. I think it gets to cross the line where it becomes personal.
I can agree with that.
You know?
Don't bring family into it. Don't bring...
and it sounds like the instant bat flips are kind of cool, but the ones where you're holding the bat and you're walking a few steps, I got a problem.
We talked about this last week. I think if we do get a resurgence of charging the mound, batters started it. It's become cool in baseball to bat flip, and all the fans like it. Batters have started that. If pitchers are going to start celebrating strikeouts with the same level of bravado that batters celebrate their home runs,
strikeout's stupid. That celebration's dumb.
Really?
That one's dumb. That one's dumb. I think that's over the top, especially for as crappy as your team is.
That is fair. I do hate though that batters can go celebrate and bat flip and scream and yell all around the bases and be fired up and give high fives. Why do pitchers have to be stone cold after they strike a guy out?
I go back to it. Maybe it's like act like you've been there.
Well, I said the same thing to batters though.
But now, what if if that guy strikes out 10 in the game, he's doing that 10 times.
He's a reliever.
He's gonna run out of webs. Okay. We know what didn't disappoint is golf. The Wyndham did not disappoint. Corn Raider, good morning, and you're right. No big names, but it was still amazing. We're back-to-back weeks of dreams being made in golf. Thorby and Arnson, Michael last week, 18 under. He gets a win in. Michael Brennan, was that his first name? Brennan? Boy, what a weekend, man. Like, look at his round, man. He goes 60. Like, to me, it's the most impressive of these dreams being made, getting in the top 70 or whatever. But, like, coming out of nowhere. Like, 66, 65, 63, 64. My goodness. He won by 3. And other guys didn't play bad. He just took control of this golf tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's some other things to watch for because we're, like, yeah, agree. 3 consecutive 20-something-year-olds winning and getting in. There's some disappointments in this as well, but there's some ones that made it, and they're in. Michael Brennan wins. Guess what that does for him? That puts you in the top 70, my friend, as you make some way in that one. There's some disappointments. Now, hey, about Jackson Cluven? You're in, brother. He just tied the least amount of tournaments. Because, we talk about expectations with him, right? I want to throw another expectation. He is now tied with one Tiger Woods as the least amount of tournaments it took to make the first FedEx Cup playoff. 5. Start throwing your comparisons. The next Tiger. Poor Jackson. Guys that missed, though, on the outside, just barely missing. Bo Hostler, he finished second, by the way, in this tournament. He needed to win, but he did get to 72. Keegan Bradley streak over 74. He's out. I want to say that was 13 or 14, maybe 15 years in a row. Your Ryder Cup captain had been there. Tony Finau, his run, I think he had made every FedEx Cup playoff. He's out. But some of the guys that you're going to get a chance to now this week, again, here we go again. Now you're in. Now the playoff begins again. Bracket play again. Because guys like Jackson Cluven, he's 70th. Now we're running for the top 50. Each week now there's 20 more that have to go away.
Mm-hmm.
So watch names this week. Because now, no cut, making money. Top 70, you've secured that. Did you see the video of Michael Brennan's mom after he won?
I missed it.
Forget about what's happening next week. She hugs him and goes, "We're going to the Masters." Oh, Mom, wait a minute. I got to play next week.
Well, think about how career changing it is.
Yes.
Yeah, you get an invite to the Masters.
Signature events.
He more than doubled his career earnings.
Yep.
More than doubled his career earnings in one weekend.
And here's what's crazy.
And that's the type of thing that can take a guy from struggling, you don't know how long he's going to remain on the PGA Tour, to a guy that can be solidly in the PGA Tour for a bit. Get a Masters appearance next year.
Yep.
You have $1.6 million in the bank from this, which really takes some pressure off of the results that you need to get in order to keep on financially being able to swing it, being on the PGA Tour. It's a big deal.
Huge deal, because with the win, by the way, now we're talking some names here that are sitting on that, trying to stay in the top 50, get in the top 50, because you advance by being in the top 50 now. Brennan won, not securely, but he is now 47. What's his week like this week? Can he have some type of repeat performance to keep himself inside the top 50 to continue to play? Watch names this week, McGee. There's going to be some big names this week they're going to be watching. Patrick Cantlay, 42. Now, rise and fall by every shot, every stroke. Patrick Cantlay sitting there. Michael Brennan we talked about. Maverick McNeely, he's your bubble guy. He's number 50. Solid golfer, solid PGA guy. On the other side, look at these names. I'll give you let's go, 65. Brian Harmon, former major champion, 65. Shane Lowry, 62. Can you play it? Michael Kim, document had some very good success lately. Daniel Cheeseburger at 60. Let's give you this name. One Jordan Spieth, 54. Does he continue? They, by the way, yesterday, I watched that round. That was a fun round to watch. And they were so far, but it was Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth.
You see Spieth's his par save on Friday to make the cut?
That is Spieth. If you're a Spieth fan, that is how you live with Jordan Spieth right now.
Dude, imagine how good he would be if he could get off the tee box successfully. I feel like that's been just an issue in his game going on 5 years now.
Yep.
Is his ability to find fairways. He might be the best in the world at scrambling.
Dude, he is tough as nails. And it's, as they would call him, the working man's pars.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that was the epitome of it, of making, because he's out. Right? So he's sitting there, mate's cut 54. He's got work to do this week. Max Homa, the return of Max Homa, 52. What does that do? Okay, so you got those guys sitting. Harris English is 51. Other guys trying to stay in. Thigala sitting at 44. Watch that. There's that Michael Thorbjornsen guy. How about he wins? He's 38. A lot of cushion as he got his win in that one. Also watch this week for guys that are for the 30. Because there's guys right now that are going, all right, I'm in the 50, right? I'm going to be securely in the 50. But listen to these names that are they're just kind of sitting on the outside, trying to get into 30. Justin Thomas, 39. What does his week look like, right? Because he's got 2 weeks now to try to get to the 30. Because the Tour Championship is where it's all the money's made. Sepp Straka, he's sitting at 37. Bobby McIntyre, Robert McIntyre, the lefty, 31. Your bubble guy at 30 is JT Poston right now. He'll be sitting there. And then there's other guys. Like, you get into this world of, securing the 30, you're talking about elite golfers. How about Adam Scott, Ricky Fowler, Gary Woodland, Tom Kim, Justin Rose? That's 24 through 29. It's the drama of all drama. There's not a better bracket play type playoff situation than we got in golf right now coming up. So watch that. And a lot of the big guys will be back this week too, as they make their prep work for these three, because obviously a lot of them were gone last week. Scotty Scheffler, Roy McIlroy, all gone because, again, they're in the top 5. They don't lose positioning by not playing because Scotty Scheffler is so far ahead right now.
He's got
you can almost take 2 weeks off. Almost take 2 weeks off if you wanted to, but you got to keep the game sharp. So that will be a must-watch coming up. Also, Pinnacle Bank Championship. Boy, if you got a chance to go up there, Greg, I know you got a chance to go up there. If you were there yesterday, you were treated. It didn't disappoint. Frankie Harris wins in a playoff in this. But it's not about the playoff more than how he got to the playoff. I know you saw. Did you see this?
Is this the guy that holed out?
He shot 59.
Oh, wow.
6 birdies and an eagle on the back. He shot 59 to get in the playoff and wins it.
And it was an 18-foot birdie putt on number 18 to get him that 59.
That is
Nailed.
silly. 68, 66, 69, 59 to get in the playoff. The points list, by the way, because they have their points list too. Like, they have a race to the points list. Frankie Harris winning that, by the way, he started at 150 in the Korn Ferry points. He wins, projected 29 now, top 30 in the Korn Ferry by winning that. It's a big payday for those guys, big win.
You see Frankie Harris, whenever he finished up the round, he was asked about it. He said he didn't actually know he shot a 59 until he got off the 18th green.
Oh, my God.
He said he said he wasn't thinking. He said, I was just trying to keep the pedal on the gas and finish strong. I knew I was playing well. But he said, I did not know that I shot a 59 until I got off of the 18th green.
Talk about being in your own feelings right there, man. Not knowing, that's locked in.
Oh, the secondary quote that I thought was funny is because he was the clubhouse leader once he got off 18. He said, I was ready to crack my first beer once I finished the round, but then my caddy and I made the smart choice not to do that because Alistair, who finished second in the lost in the playoff, came in real hot. I ended up going back out there when I saw that he birdied 17 because I knew there's a good chance he would birdie 18 as well.
Cornrader all up on. He said Hosser was a double bogey away from trash in the clubhouse locker room. And yeah, I remember I mentioned that. Kluven wasn't in until is that how you say it? Why you? He didn't make birdie, so Kluven got in. That's this whole deal. He said also I couldn't shoot a 59 with unlimited mulligans. Same. Fletic said I feel speech pain. I used to hit fairways. There's something. Yeah, we're gonna get to Evan Blam. There's a whole theory about fairways that we can talk about later on, because the big hitters change the way fairways are looked at. There's math out there. The Tigers, the Brysons, the Phils in the day, they don't care about fairways as much. They care about hitting it as far as they possibly can to get the smallest club in.
Mm-hmm.
There's data out there that show you the top fairway guys in the league on tour. I hit the most fairways. To these guys that hit average fairways, these guys win. These guys don't. Tiger and Bryson say, I'll hit it as far down as I can, but give me a wedge, and I'm going to beat you with your 7-iron from back there. So, Zach Johnson's one of the best fairway hitters in all of golf, but he only hit it like 260. So, fairways sometimes overrated, but now with the rough, makes it a little bit more difficult.
It
so
depends on course design as well. I know Augusta's one of those courses. I know they've made some changes to accommodate for some of the longer hitters, but there are certain holes in that course where, based on dispersion patterns, you can find yourself in hell if you do take driver and try to get yourself 60 yards out. Well, based on the angle that you're in and how sloped those greens are, it's actually better for you to be a guy that can consistently hit the right side of the fairway and be 120 yards out.
Coordinator said it. Which is why the rough is getting thicker and harder to hit out. If you watch golf courses now, they're making roughs harder, because commonly we used to think about the U.S. Open being that thick rough. Now you look at this. This was out in North Carolina, Sedgwick, North Carolina. Which coming up, it's the FedEx, the St. Jude, coming up this week. Whew. Out in Tennessee, Southwind, TPC South. They're playing some great golf courses coming in. FedEx will be a TPC course out in Southwind. The BMWs at Belvedere Country Club, and then obviously the Tour Championship in Eastlake. So it'll be a lot of fun. So take a peek. All right, let's take a break. Come back with Evan Blam, the Omaha World Herald. Yeah, buddy. No, I don't want to draft. I just want to go into here.
Would you mind just taking your mic and moving it slightly? There's a little bit of there. There's
Have a little feedback somewhere.
a touch, but it's better now.
Come on. Yeah. Moving truck came, took my kid's stuff away. Now what?
Knew it was gonna happen eventually.
I know, but man.
It's still like, man. She's the oldest, right?
Yeah.
First kid out the house.
Yeah, I know, man. It's just like. You ready to talk some football?
Don't give it too long, and Ty will be right behind her.
Oh, no! His next step is driving. Welcome back in the morning hookup again. Happy Monday. Let's bring I got an Omaha World Herald, Evan Bland. Evan, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I wasn't the enthusiasm today.
I don't know. It's like, you hear that they're putting the pads on today. It is the first time where they fall camp, number 5, practice number 5? Like, you feel like the energy now. Now it's kind of football. They're going to mix it up a little bit, and I think it just brings a new element to fall camp.
Pads are popping, man. It's what do they say? You're in pajamas the first couple of days, and then you get after it, and you kind of find out who's made those gains from the summer, man. Like, you put in the work or you didn't. This is the time you find out.
What's the average adult life equivalent of putting on the pads? Is it like that first time mowing the lawn, you get the stripes in the yard where it's like it's game time, you really got to get things rolling? Like,
nailed it.
I'm trying to think here what the adult equivalent is.
That's a good one. I'll flip it around to the first big snow, and like, how ready are you either to shovel, I should say, or do you have your snowblower ready? Like, you either put in the work before the snow fell or you didn't. And if you didn't, man, that's when you're checking with your neighbor or whatever. Like, I think that's a great one for me, because I'm always like, in the fall, I'm like, man, did I check my snowblower? Is it ready to go? And then the snow hits, and you're like, man, I'm just praying it starts. And if it doesn't, it's going to get interesting. So, I think the mowing, snowblowing analogy is pretty good for, like, that midlife life.
See, last year, I guess 2 years ago, first big snow, couldn't find my gloves. And that felt like going out and just getting decapitated by a pulling guard on the first day of pads. Like, out there, no gloves on, my hands are freezing, I got to get it done anyway. That was a tough one.
Yeah, and what do they say? No one cares, man. You either get the job done or you don't get the job done. That's all on you. That's that's right. Like, I think all these guys, when their careers are over on football, these guys have their mowers and snowblowers ready to go. You can bet, if their training holds up.
It feels like that's the motto of year 4 under Coach Roy, is you get the job done, and you got to get the job done, or you don't this year coming up. But let's talk a bit. But that, you know what, you got a chance, and again, great stuff to. I'm trying to get the national narrative, Evan, when we look at this Nebraska football team, because this is a really quiet camp right now. And I think, as Elijah mentioned earlier, here in Coach Rule Talk, you're not going to get a whole lot. But give us a thought, again, hanging out with a CBS analyst and Charles Davis, and like the national narrative about Nebraska, the brand, the schedule, because I think fans are going to have to read to the national narrative more than the local narrative of what you're hearing come out of camp?
Yeah, I thought so. Like, to me, it kind of started with the preseason poll that Cleveland.com does for the Big Ten, and I was kind of looking back at some of the history of it, and very consistently, like the media externally or in that poll viewed Nebraska higher than what they ended up finishing. And this year, it kind of felt like it was a little lower. I mean, I think they were 11th in the preseason poll, and it kind of feels like maybe this is where the national perspective isn't as optimistic. I mean, I think if you're just giving it a quick check over from the outside, like you say, okay, the schedule is really hard. You have all the big three in the Big Ten on your slate to play this year. You have a new quarterback. You have a new two of your three coordinators are new to the lead role. You've got a guy in Matt Rule who's not on the hot seat, but who kind of missed that year 3 jump that everyone was anticipating. So it's kind of a team that a lot of people nationally are just going to wait and see on. Like, yeah, you could see a scenario where a lot of these coaching hires and portal additions come together where Nebraska is an older team, and you end that drought against ranked teams. Maybe you can win 8 games or somewhere in that neighborhood. But I think people are just kind of they've been burned so many times on saying this is the year for Nebraska, or this is the time when they've got it figured out. So it seems to me like nationally, folks have sort of caught up to what's been going on locally for a couple of years now, which is, let's just see how the games play out. Let's avoid kind of big proclamations and bold outlooks for what the season could be, knowing that, again, it could still happen, but it hasn't. And so I just think that's where it is. Like, you talk to a guy like Charles Davis from CBS Sports, who's been out of college football really for the better part of the last decade, and he's like, yeah, I know that Nebraska was good back in the day, but there's not a ton of established star power there right now, and they're going to have to go out and prove it. So I kind of think that's where they are. They're part of that really large middle class of the Big Ten right now.
One of the things we did get from Coach was him talking about the physical conditioning and the weightlifting and the kind of lean mass that the team put on over the season. Do you really make anything of those comments?
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the team. I understand why they would put that out there. There's no doubt they worked hard in the off season. I guess I try to take a lot of comments like that with with a grain of salt. Just it's right up there with we're bigger, faster, stronger, or we're as close of a team as we've ever been. And usually the players that say that mean it, but oftentimes they're guys who were maybe underclassmen or transfers previously, and now they're more toward the core or the middle of what the team's doing. So I think you'd probably get similar numbers from most teams around the country if they have really poured into their strength training and nutrition and things. I know Nebraska invests more nutritionally than a lot of schools, but everybody's lifting weights, everybody's improving physically. So I think that's a good first step. But now these next few weeks, like, you want to see how that bears out. You want to see if somebody jumps up and takes the running back position, or if somebody jumps up and takes the number 2 corner spot opposite Andrew Marshall. Maybe that's Jeremiah Charles, maybe that's Victor Evans, maybe that's Danny Odom. But I think that's kind of the next thing now, is you need to see those collective gains translate into some good individual development stories and set up a situation now where Nebraska maybe has some guys they didn't necessarily count on that are going to be bigger contributors for what they do next year. So, yeah, it's a good start, but I think it's sort of the baseline expectation. Like, if you're a Division I athlete, yeah, you should be improving your body and getting it ready for the grind of the season that's to come. So, good first start, but probably not something that you want to herald or tweet out on a bunch of graphics until it starts translating into some other more tangible signs of progress.
Yeah, and you mentioned briefly, we talked back in hour one about some of the interesting position battles just very, very briefly, and you mentioned one there, that corner spot opposite Andrew Marshall. Victor Evans was a name that we weren't talking about before this weekend, and you see some footage coming out of Jeremiah Charles, and he looks like he has absolutely transformed his body here this offseason. I've been enthused about Danny Odom since he signed on the dotted line. How open do you think that competition is? I think we kind of went into camp thinking maybe it's Charles and Odom, but then you get the Victor Evans name drop over the weekend, and I think it added a little intrigue in my eyes.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, Evans clocked one of the better 40 times on the team. He's got some speed, and I think it underscores. And Matt Rule mentioned this on Saturday, but it underscores why the team is comfortable moving Donovan Jones to that nickel spot. And you think back to last year. I mean, Jones was a lockdown corner on the edge. And so you don't move that guy out of that role unless you feel like you have some depth and some candidates behind him. So, I mean, I think you can make an argument that the secondary is one of the 3 or 4 most position groups that's in the best shape heading into camp. When you talk about Jameer Khan at safety and some of the other depth pieces that you're just kind of expecting to take that leap. Dwayne McDougal, who comes in as a transfer. But yeah, I think that second corner competition, it illuminates what a good spot that Nebraska's in right now, because you could put the 5-star in Odom out there. By all accounts, he's somebody who could be ready to rock right away. Jeremiah Charles has had those traits now for 3 years in the program. That's somebody Nebraska's invested in. Evans could end up being one of those under-the-radar portal victories for Nebraska. He wasn't certainly one of the more touted transfers that they brought in. So you're developing them under the guise of Addison Williams in the secondary and the work that he's done. So yeah, I think it'll be fascinating to see how that shakes out. Ideally, it's a role someone would just take and run with. I don't know that you necessarily want to rotate a ton, but they do have some nice depth there, and I think that's probably one of your top, along with running back, one of your top position battles to shake out here in the next month of camp.
Again, we're speaking to Evan Blam of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, you talked about a position group, and apparently the ROC is not happy with one of them, and it's a group that we've talked about on the show about. It's that tight end room. It's how good that tight end room can be and how important it's going to be that they're a part of the offense, because Dana not happy with their June and July, apparently, as he called them out. But talk about that room, and I think the name, and again, there's names in there, right? We got Luke Sorensen, the freshman in there. You've got Luke Lindenmeyer, but then you got this Ainsworth, Nebraska kid, Carter Nelson, who hopefully is now fully healthy and go. But how important that room is if they can get into the offense, because I think Calandria could use them across the middle of the field quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a really interesting group, and Matt Rule followed up on Dana Holgerson's comments on that this weekend, saying he wasn't really quite sure what Dana's displeasure was, especially since coaches aren't really around tight ends in July. But I think some of that he thought was maybe related just to injuries and guys trying to get on the field and be more consistently available and out there. But there's no doubt. I mean, you start with Luke Lindenmeyer, the guy they brought to Big Ten Media Days, and he's the unquestioned starter, has been for a couple of years now, or a year and a half. And I think the skill sets behind him are different enough that you can bring in guys in different situations. I mean, you've got more inline blockers like Eric Ingwerson, Caden Echternach. Those are big bodies, 260-pound guys, 6'5", 6'6", in that range. And then, Carter Nelson's sort of the ultimate enigma for how he can fit into Nebraska's offense. There was a time when he was a receiver, and now Nebraska's saying, yeah, he's a tight end full-time. He's had those injuries the last 2 springs, which haven't helped the on-field development, but just athletically, he's one of the most explosive kids on the team. So can you get the ball to him in space? And he was a guy who was a national-level high jump performer in high school out of Ainsworth. So maybe get creative with him and see what a goal line leap would look like with a guy like that. That could be fun. And then, Luke Sorensen, the true freshman who comes in, who Luke Lindenmeyer was very effusive of in Chicago, saying he's already as physically developed as Lindenmeyer, a senior, and someone who maybe has the highest ceiling along with Nelson of anyone in the group. So I think it's been about, can you stay healthy? Can you stay on the field? And then how can Nebraska scheme up these guys and lean into their skill sets to really maximize what their production can be? And if you can be a guy, I mean, this is true for any tight end, but if you can be a guy who can be a factor blocking and in the pass game, I mean, that just goes all the farther in an offense disguising, what it's running and making it all the more difficult for a defense to defend you. So I do think that's one of those X factor positions where Nebraska's maybe had some talent through the years, but hasn't maybe used it to the best of its ability. Maybe that changes this year with a group that seems to be as talented as they've had.
Evan, you brought up a point about taking players and using their skill sets and maximizing them. I think what you mean is kind of like adjusting personnel, adjusting your scheme to the personnel that you have. And Matt Rule was asked about that, and he kind of dismissed the comment a little bit about the 4-2-5 look because in past years, yes, Nebraska on some downs has had a 4-down front, but it'll go from like a 60% time of having a 4-down front to probably more towards like a 90% time. What do you think about just the change of Nebraska's personnel and adapting their schemes to the players that they have this year on the defense rather than what they've done in past years where it's kind of been having a predetermined system and forcing the players to like kind of adjust to that instead?
Yeah, I mean, I think the shift specifically to a 4-man front is a positive for Nebraska's personnel, and I think it's a positive for just how you want to defend ground and pound offenses in the Big Ten. I mean, we've heard from Cam Lenhart. I asked Cam Lenhart a week or so ago about that, and he said, yeah, now I can actually be a defensive end, like a true defensive end, whereas in that 3-man look, you're almost sort of more of a quasi-defensive tackle just because of where you line up, and you've got outside linebackers behind you, and it's just a different sort of ask in what you're trying to do. So I think Lenhart on the end of a 4-man front is interesting. Riley Van Poppel had some good thoughts about that on the D-line, being able to say he can be more of a true D tackle in the middle. And I think, there were just some situations where those guys had to be a little bit of both and had to be hybrids. And it was okay. And certainly in 2023, that 3-3-5 looked really good, and it was pretty good in 24. But it didn't work so well last year with, a guy running it who was not familiar with the scheme all that much. So I think it's good for the personnel. And then, I think in the Big Ten, like you need big guys up front to stop the run. I can't remember which team it was in Chicago this year, but there was one of the other teams talked about running like a 3-man front, and they were saying we didn't even practice against it in during the week because we would never see it on the weekends. And so I don't know how many favors that did Nebraska's offense, for example, going up against a 3-3-5 every day for the last few years when it wouldn't really ever see that look on fall Saturdays. So I think in general that schematic shift makes sense, but I also think obviously that's what Rob Orich is used to, and you look at the success he had at San Diego State, and Matt Rule said it, like the thing that won him over was not a resume or an interview, it was the film, and watching what those defenses did week in and week out, pressuring the quarterback, limiting explosive pass plays, gumming up running lanes, like that was what has Rob Orich at Nebraska now. So I think all those things combine together, and it makes a ton of sense that this is the direction Nebraska's going. And obviously, if you want to get to where the Huskers want to be, like you need to be limiting the run, getting after quarterbacks, and they feel like they're in a better position to do that now.
Evan Bland with us here from the Omaha World Herald, talking some Husker football fall camp. And Evan, an unfortunate reality is once you do put the pads on, injuries happen in fall camp. Are there any places there that you'd be extra concerned based on depth if injuries did occur? Any places you'd kind of be watching out for?
I mean, I'm trying to kind of go through, like it would. I think offensive line's in a good shape. Linebacker maybe would be one. I think they did upgrade in that position, but I don't know that you want to lose Owen Chambliss. Like he pretty clearly to me looks like the guy at that spot. And not that they don't have good talent behind him. I mean, Dexter Foster and Vincent Shavers are going to be part of that rotation, but I think linebacker is probably one where you'd love to stay healthy. Tight end potentially could be one. We talk about some of the guys they have behind them, but really Lindenmeyer's been the proven guy to this point. Quarterback, obviously, you want to stay healthy with Anthony Calandra. Not that TJ Lateef can't start games. Obviously, he has, but you didn't bring in Calandria to not play and not leverage that experience. But I think that's probably where I'd go. I think a lot of the spots you feel pretty good, like the offensive line. Matt Rule talked about Gunnar Gatula on Saturday. He's been a multi-year starter, and he's not even in the projected starting 5 for Nebraska right now. So that shows you what they've got. I think the receiver is as deep as they've been probably in 10 or 12 years with what they have. You can probably go 6 deep on guys who are plausible playmakers for what Nebraska wants to do. Defensive line's kind of murky, I guess. Like, I think you could make a case for that position to have some depth, although I don't know that you want to test it too much necessarily. So that's probably another one where you've got guys who are maybe a little bit less proven once you get into that second level or third level of defensive linemen. Maybe that's another spot. But I do think it's better than it's been in past years. Like, there have been years where there's been like one guy, and if they go down, like Emma Johnson last year was an example of that. Like, he obviously was a clear level above everybody else. So I think those would probably be the ones, but even those aren't super glaring, and I think that's probably a sign of not only the depth that Nebraska has, but also the age of guys. Like, you're not having to rely on redshirt freshmen or third-year guys necessarily. It feels like most of these spots do have, if not proven on-field contributors, at least guys who are in their third or fourth years who conceivably would be able to hold their own.
Well, it's going to be fun. The pads are on. We're marching towards that first game. So, Evan, man, we appreciate your time as always. Thanks for hanging out with us. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald. Always good stuff. And hanging out with Evan on the Morning Hookup. Let's take our final break and come back with stories that we missed. I was going to say, he's like, we didn't bring him in to do this. We did not bring Jeep Wade in to sing.
No, don't ever let Jeep Wade on the mic ever again.
I will not be playing Sand in My Boots here.
No. Not his version or that song.
I know hindsight's 20/20, but looking back, and yes, we did have the year with Nash and Ty, but thinking about how we have ran a 3-down front in the Big Ten is kind of crazy.
It's not that you've ran a 3-man front, it's the personnel you've tried to run a 3-man front with.
Yeah, also true. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point.
If you have guys on the inside that can be both big enough and athletic enough to play 2 gaps, a la Ty Robinson, you can make it work. If you have guys that struggle to play 1 gap and try to make them be 2 gap defenders on the lines of scrimmage, oof. If you're going to run a 3-man front, you need multiple guys that can go eat up double teams and play 2 gaps. And Nebraska did not have either of those things last year.
And then you have guys in the second and third level that over pursue and don't fill those gaps. Just everything all bad with the run defense last year. Hopefully that's like the main talking point, is just being more physical up front and plugging those gaps.
It's the meanest team he's ever had.
I hope so.
It's like we always say, just get us to that first Saturday. Get us there. What?
You said
Said Things to make you go,
Anything in particular that made you go,
No.
Just generally speaking?
Just generally speaking. Just, in my own head now, just circulating the day. Oh, I gotta call everything too. Just added something to my list because I forgot. Yay.
Elijah, my girlfriend, is transferring from SEC to the university this semester, and she's like freaking out. So I'm taking the liberty of showing her around campus today and showing her like all the buildings and stuff and where her classes are going to be. So I got to go back and be a college student for a day.
That's fun.
Van Wilder.
Go in the Union and the Love Library.
They're going to look at you like, man. They're going to hit the panic button. Is it blue or red?
Coming back here.
Welcome back in the morning hookup. Special thanks to Evan Blam, the Omaha World Herald, hanging out with us, talking Husker football. Fall camp pads are on. Raw. I'm not singing this one. I don't know it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try it either.
And we're not asking our offensive line coach to sing at all. Well, they put him on blast. Poor guy.
Though, I wonder if that helps some of the other newcomers whenever
It does.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the gig.
Yeah.
Not just players, coaches too.
You got to be thinking like, I can't do much worse than that.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, he set the bar low enough that anybody can get up there now. So let's do stories that we missed.
The stories we miss. The morning hookup.
Well, the unfortunate news of the passing. Don Nelson, Hall of Famer Don Nelson, 86, 5-time NBA champion, 3-time Coach of the Year. He's not going to be known for his 5 championships, but he was on some really good Boston Celtics teams that won some championships. But it'll be all about his coaching. When he retired, he was the all-time leader in wins, 540 wins, regular season wins, passed by the great Greg Popovich. But it'll be about his coaching, his front office. I forgot this, that in his final season as a head coach was 2009-2010. You know who they drafted? Steph Curry.
Oh.
The campaign was his rookie year with Golden State. How crazy is that? That's how long it goes back. But they were part of the group that drafted Steph Curry, passing of Don Nelson.
We had some news over the weekend. Matt Rule revealed this. A change in the Husker football radio booth. First off, congratulations are in order to Damon Benning.
Yep.
Going Director of Player Development, which if you're wondering, that kind of more focuses on the off-the-field development, the development of these athletes as young men. So Damon Benning transitioning into that role and leaves a hole now in the Husker radio booth with about a month until the first game.
Wow. Timing.
Wrong answers only. Who should go in the booth? We talked about
Elijah Herbal.
Over the weekend on the Average
Not
Show.
Jeep Wade.
We said Carl Pelini. Get Carl up in there.
Mike Riley? I'm trying to think without being like, Got other names? I got some. I'm just trying to think who could come back and be like, that'd be wild.
In terms of the right answers, I think there are some great.
Who's gonna
former
go? Like,
Husker
are there names floating?
I don't know. I haven't talked to any of these people about this, so I don't know. But like the names that first came to mind for me, Jeremiah Searles, Jay Moore, Kenny Bell. The former Huskers that have been around broadcasting. Another wrong answer would be Trev Alberts. He's got experience in broadcasting.
I mean, you could go the last few ADs at that point.
Probably couldn't be more of a wrong answer.
Peterson, Alberts, Harvey Perlman, bring them all back.
You know, but I'll be curious to see. You would think that the first place your mind would go would probably be former player. That's that's the way they go. Former player or former coach.
Ones that are in there now too that can bring you some of that in-depth analysis.
And you also think folks that are living in the area as well, because you have a short time to turn around and get somebody up there. So I'll be curious to see who they fill it with, but Damon Benning steps into a role that I think is, perfect.
Who was
perfect for
was
him.
previously by a lot of people don't know, Gus Fielder, I believe is his name, who moved on to become an AD at a high school in Georgia.
Yep.
So that's the reason why the hole is there. but fielded by a former Husker.
So good for Damon. I think that's the kind of role he's been looking for, and B, one that suits him very, very well. So we'll miss hearing him in the booth though.
Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs offensive coordinator, returned to the team after he was with his wife, after she was hospitalized after she was shot. Unfortunate situation, but seems as if his wife is improving and doing well, and Eric is able to be back with the team. So hopefully that situation keeps progressing into a positive.
That's good.
We're talking about the Chiefs. It's been interesting following Emmett Johnson's journey out of camp. Tough competition in that Chiefs running back room. Sounds like as of now he's kind of sitting in that third or fourth spot, but competing to be the number 2 running back this fall. Interesting to follow him. He's a guy that I do want to see in preseason. Going to be excited to follow him and see what types of opportunities he's able to carve out for himself through preseason.
A lot of injuries happening too right now in the NFL right now.
Especially if you're a 49er.
And if you're a Commander, losing Tunsil now with tricep surgery going on. Man, that's a big one. Tomorrow, Robin Washit, Brian Munson, all with HuskerOnline.com and a whole lot more. We'll talk some NFL camp. So we're getting close to NFL too. Whew, football time. All right. You guys have a great Monday. Thanks for hanging out with us. Catch you on a Tuesday.